Okay, and on to comparing distributions. So during this course, we will very much regularly be asked to compare distributions, to interpret what's happening in one data set compared to another. We're going to start with, can we compare box plots? A box plot needs 5 pieces of information. We're going to need the minimum weight, the maximum weight, the lower quartile, the upper quartile, and the median. All right, just to clarify, each of these can be represented as a quartile, with the minimum weight being Q0, the maximum being Q4. We're already familiar with Q1 and Q3 for the lower quartile and upper quartile, and the median is Q2. All right, so they're not in order at the moment, but these are the quartiles that can be used, that should be used when producing a box plot. Let's see how we can represent that. All right, so we're going to produce both box plots here, and we want to use a similar number line for each of them. The first thing is, what number line am I actually going to use? Looking at all of the data here, I realize it needs to range from the smallest value, which is 0.9, up to the largest value of all of them, which is 4.7. So let's just be sensible about fitting those values on. And I think we can get away with starting with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so I should be able to contain all the values of interest in between this range, 0 to 5. So let's go ahead and produce the box plot for the boys. Okay, so the minimum weight is 0.9. Okay, so this will be 0.75. This is 1, 0.9, reasonably around about there. The maximum is 4.7. The median is 3.2. The lower quartile, 2.3. And the upper quartile, 3.9. All right, so those 5 things have been marked off. Let's actually turn it into a box plot. So I need a box in the middle. These lines, they used to be called whiskers. And there's my box plot for the boys. All right, so I could make some conclusions here already, but actually I'm going to wait until I've produced the one for the girls so I can make some good comparisons between them. Okay, so for the girls, the minimum weight, 1.1. The maximum, 4.4. The median, 2.5. The median, 3.1. The lower quartile, 2.5. And the upper quartile, 3.6. All right, and there's my box plots for the girls and the boys. So at this point, what things we want to mention? Well, we can talk about one of these locations, so one of the values that we had in the original table, so either the median or the lower quartile or the maximum or the minimum. Out of all of these, the most important one to mention, the top of the list, the priority, is the median. Let's make a comparison between those medians. The boys have a higher median weight than the girls do. That would be my first interpretation or comparison between these distributions. Any talk about the largest value or the lower quartile goes by the wayside when we're thinking about the median. That should be our first priority to compare in a box plot. The second comparison is going to be about the spread, and we're going to prioritize talking about the interquartile range, because the interquartile range eliminates any extreme values, and that should be a comment that we make. So the interquartile range of the two of these, actually the girls have the lower interquartile range, which means that they have a larger consistency. They're more likely to be that weight, whereas the boys' weights are quite varied. But the comment here is around the interquartile range. The girls have a lower interquartile range than the boys. Those 2 comments are what we're looking for to achieve our marks. Okay, so this is how I would word each of those comparisons. If you notice, I've been specific and I've included numerical values to support the point that I was making. Moving on into A-level maths, very much so we're going to want to see the numerical value, which is just as important as the actual interpretation itself. At the moment, we're only comparing 2 things, the median and the interquartile range. As we go forward, we will look at a lot more things that we can compare between these 2 box plots.